Welcome to my early access gameplay of the new Silver Screen DLC pack for Planet Coaster 2. Frontier have very kindly given me early access to the new update and DLC, and I'm very excited to share some of that with you today. Specifically, the new Vekoma new gen flying coaster, which I am so excited is now finally in the game, is something that a lot of us have wanted for a long time, and to see it actually in the game now and being able to use it has just been so fun. I'm really excited to see what everyone's going to create with it. Just quickly before we begin, if you enjoy what you see today, please let me know by subscribing to the channel. I'm on my way to 25,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and if you could help me get there, that would be amazing. I've got lots more Planet Coaster 2 content on the way with the continuation of my new park series, along with coverage of all the future DLCs for this game. Now, this is a great looking DLC. There's a lot of rides in it, so much scenery stuff, and I'm really excited to use it in future projects as well, but today I will just be focusing on the Vector new gen flying coaster, and you can see it here. It looks absolutely fantastic. I am glad that we have a D-themed variant as like the main model for this. I think the coaster model around the seats looks fantastic. The slightly low poly looking texture over the design for the train covering does look a little odd, but because of how small it is, it will be quite easy to hide with scenery theming. I am really liking all the detail in the track work though. Obviously this coaster is a very unique loading system, how it loads on its side, so I'm really glad that they've got that into the game, and it just looks and operates really well. It's fascinating how it works. You can see here when it comes out of the station we have these obviously whilst you're still in that vertical position, we've got a normal type of track. The drive tyres, the custom supports are very chunky there, very accurate. I've got drive tyres and a block section, so you can still stay sat comfortably like that while you're waiting for the ride to transform into its flying position, which you can do with this track piece here. It's very seamless the way it works. You can see here the cars actually spin at the correct time as well. It's so fascinating how they've managed to do that so perfectly as well. It just works really nicely, pretty flawless, exactly how you'd expect it to work, to be honest. Very accurate to its real life counterpart, and I do really like the look of that. We'll have a look at some of the other track types now though, so you can see they've got the standard sitting track there. You've got quite a few other types as well. I do want to see how the loading and the onloading and offloading stations work. Through having a bit of a mess around before this recording, it does seem that building backwards is particularly difficult with this coaster model, because as you can see with the arrow that's on the track there, I believe this is modelled after the Vekoma spinning turning coaster that we have, the Guardians of the Galaxy style one. I think it's modelled off of that one. So the way that we build the track is directional compared to how the train operates on the track. So when you're placing the track forward, the train will be placing forward, but when you place the track backwards, that's a bit of a tongue twister, the actual movement arrow that you can see there does change position. So it does mean that to build it backwards, you are having to sort of manipulate the game a little bit with placing different track down in different orders to sort of get what you want, which is a little bit faffy, I think. We do have three really nice track types here though. You've got sort of the default really thick spine one, a thinner spine one, and then that sort of maintenance style track, the really chunky one, which is where you'd have the drive tires and stuff. We've got magnetic brakes in there too, which look really nice, along with block section and the LSM launch section as well, so you can really get this coaster to be as thrilling as possible, which I aim to do in this video. So yeah, this coaster looks really good, and I think all that is left to do now is build one. I am really excited to do this. Just bear in mind this is my first ever flying coaster layout. Hoping it's going to go well. I'm sure it will. Really excited to give this a go. Let's jump into it. Today's video will actually be a little bit shorter than I would normally do for a DLC coaster coverage video. As much as I had a fantastic time building this new gen Vekoma flying coaster, I also didn't have a lot of time to do it. For those of you that don't know, I recently posted on my Instagram story about a new road trip that I have coming up where I'm returning to America. The last time I was there was in September last year, where I did most of the Florida parks. This time I'm going back to the US and doing a road trip. It's my first ever road trip across the US. It's going to be so fun. I'll be going to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, King's Dominion, Kennywood, Hershey Park, Cedar Point, and then King's Island. I am so excited for this trip, and you're going to have to join me for the vlog series on the channel, which we'll be releasing starting September. It's going to be a fantastic trip. I'm really, really excited for it. It should provide some incredible inspiration for Moorview Meadow, because there's quite a lot of parks that we're visiting that have like different designed elements that have changed over time and stuff. It should be really fascinating to visit that. About this actual coaster though, we're getting a little bit sidetracked there. I had a really fun time building it. I'll have to admit, the flying coaster model just in general, no matter what manufacturer it is, isn't my favourite model in real life. I'm not really too fussed on the actual flying position itself, like the gimmick of it. I just kind of find it a little bit, I would rather them be inverted coasters, I'd put it that way. I just don't really find the flying position too comfortable, and I sort of feel like I'm cranking my neck upwards to sort of watch the train fly around the layout. Although I have to say, the new gen Vekoma ones are really fun. I did really enjoy F.L.Y the second time I went on it. The first time I wasn't too blown away. Obviously the themed experience is the main part of that ride, but after going on it a second time, I feel like I could really appreciate the ride system a lot more, because I didn't really enjoy it too much the first time, but I do think it is an absolutely fantastic coaster model, and I do know that it is probably one of the single most requested coaster models to be added to Planet Coaster, so this DLC will make a lot of people happy that we now finally have it in the game, and I'm really happy that we do. Like I mentioned, as much as it isn't my favourite, it is incredibly satisfying to build with. Once I finish this, and you'll see in the final POV that I'm just so happy with the layout that I've made. Particularly as I've tried pretty hard to replicate, obviously in the time that I have to do this, the new gen Vekoma profiling. Now, they profile their coasters in a very particular way, and it leads to some incredibly satisfying moments with transitions and like the different inversions and everything. I think I noticed it a lot more on when I rode Halsupakov at Tripsdrill, which is the Vekoma STC, which we do also have in this game, the suspended thrill coaster. But the flying coaster and that model do follow very similar profiling techniques. Yeah, so it was really fun to try and replicate some of that. I don't know why it started snowing there. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's been really fun. This layout isn't really inspired by anything. I did sort of have the idea first of doing sort of, I don't know, maybe a Galactica like what if challenge episode, where what if Galactica was a new gen flying coaster, which I'm sure a lot of people will do. But I couldn't really find a like a really accurate model of Galactica on the workshop, so I didn't have time to make it myself either. So that's why this is sort of just like a general low to the ground sort of thrilling terrain interacting new gen flying coaster. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it turns out. Once it's sort of got all the foliage around it, and I had a bit of like water and like just general other stuff around the area, it does really start to settle into the landscape quite nicely. And yeah, I do really like the way it looks. The hardest part about this was definitely the profiling, because it's so exact and precise on these new gen Vekoma coasters. They are like completely lacking any sort of imperfection when it comes to the track profiling, so I was really concerned about trying to get that right in the time that I had to do this. But I'm really happy with it. The sort of profiling is very swoopy and glidey. I'm doing hand gestures, I don't know why because you can't see, but yeah, that's sort of what I was trying to mimic here, because it is a flying coaster. You want it to be like you are flying, and I think Galactica sort of nails that perfectly, because it's not like one of the really big Six Flags flying coasters that B&M did. It was the first one, and it really nails down that terrain interaction and that flying feeling, because that is pretty much exactly what it's supposed to mimic, isn't it? It's like you're flying, and I think F.L.Y does that really nicely as well, because it has its sort of like flying machinery. Well, there's a word for it, I don't know what the word is. Like that's the sort of theme of that, so you are flying around Rookburg, the themed area in Phantasialand, and it does work really nicely. But I do also quite like just a nice like nature themed flying coaster. As much as Galactica gets a lot of hate for its theming, well, lack of theming to be fair, the actual ride experience itself and the coaster I have learned to enjoy over the past few years. I wasn't really a huge fan of it for quite a long time, I think because of the caliber of the other coasters that are in Alton Towers, but I have slowly started to appreciate the experience of Galactica, because obviously it was the first ever flying coaster from B&M, so it's pretty cool that we have that at Alton Towers at my home park. And yeah, that was me just measuring the actual length of the station, so obviously building backwards to get this onload and offload station in. I know there's only one of these coasters out there, but I really don't see how they could work efficiently without an onload and offload, just because of how like complicated the getting in and out of the train procedure is, which is why most B&M fly coasters, I think like Manta at SeaWorld, Galactica at Alton Towers, they always have like dual loading. Well, not always, but most of them have dual loading, just because the capacity, like the time it takes to get on and off these trains, just take a while. Here I was sort of wondering how I can actually finish the layout, and I'm just looking in the timeline of my Premiere Pro like editing panel at the bottom of my screen and seeing how long this time-lapse clip is compared to the other ones, because like I mentioned, you can't really build backwards very well with this coaster, so lining it up to the station was very difficult. I've left in just the full process so I can show you it, but hopefully it can act as a little bit of a tutorial to sort of show you how to do that, because yeah, like I mentioned, I think this model is based off of the Vekoma spinning coaster, because it does have those directional arrows on there. It treats it sort of like a spinning coaster that's locked in place after it leaves the station, which I do think is a little bit odd. I can understand the mechanics side of it for how the seats twist around on the train, but that obviously does lead to the rest of the track having like a directional format, so how you build with that is quite difficult to. You can see there when I was building backwards, I just straight up couldn't place the like the fly to lie segment, which is sort of how these coasters end. Is when you're in the flying position, you go into a set of brakes, and then it transitions into the seated position and you go into the block section. With this, it was so difficult to get to do that. You can see there that the direction of the track's facing the wrong way. As much as that track doesn't have any drive tyres on it, so it's not influenced by direction, it does mess with the coaster train having to go through it. So I did sort of have to place it, like you can see here, where I have that like flying to seated position in, and then I had to manually move it into position, which is a bit of an awkward workaround. I'm used to doing this, especially with maybe some of the modded coasters that don't work particularly well with certain aspects of the game that are existing, but I think for more casual players this will be quite difficult to understand. Maybe if Frontier make some sort of mini tutorial on this, or either make the mechanic of lining it back up to the station a bit better, or just allow us to build backwards, I think that will help massively. Because it was a little bit complicated, but I have got there eventually. After sort of, you have to build backwards to get a starting point so that you can then build forwards from it. It's a bit complicated, but it does work. And to be honest, if I have to do that every time to get this end product, I do think it's worth it, because this coaster model it's so cool watching it go around, seeing how it interacts with the terrain, and obviously because of this very particular type of profiling that new gen Vekoma are doing now, watching it go around, riding it, seeing all these transitions and stuff, it is fascinating. I'm really excited to see what people build with this. Can't wait to see loads of F.L.Y recreations, because that is the only new gen flying coaster that we have out in the world now, which I'm expecting a few people to say, oh, certain parts of this are unrealistic. There's only one model of this out there in the world, so what you define as realistic is literally just based off of F.L.Y. So it's quite nice in a way, because you can do sort of whatever you want. It was like when I made the Max Striker coaster that was in Deadwood Dale. I remember having a few comments on there saying, oh, this is unrealistic, this is unrealistic. But then if you look at, what's the one that's just been built? I can't remember, Helios. If you look at the first drop and transition into that outer banked airtime hill, that would be called incredibly unrealistic if that was made in Planet Coaster. But then look at it in real life. It's only unrealistic until it gets made in real life, and then it's realistic. And if you look at some of the wacky transitions that Mac are doing now, then yeah, what you define as realistic is completely subjective. You can see here, I didn't actually have time to fully custom support this. I did add 1 or 2, but this is sort of how I would get away with just doing normal in-game supports, because the in-game supports for this aren't too bad. They are nice and chunky, so they do sort of look quite good in that aspect. But at the same time, it does that thing where if you don't bank the track past like 65 or 70 degrees, the coaster support is on the wrong side of the track, and because it isn't set far enough away, when it's banked that much, the train, I don't think it collides with it, but it gets very close, definitely within the safety envelope. So I don't know whether that's something that Frontier could maybe tweak, hopefully not just for this specific coaster model, but all of the coaster models in general. That I think inverted ones suffer from it most, where yeah, if you don't bank it to a particular amount, the track, the support for the coaster is on the wrong side of the track. But yeah, I thought I'd just show you a quick little process of how I sort of do the supporting for my coasters when I don't have time to custom support them. You can see how you can actually merge 2 pieces of track together and like delete them to get a support in the middle, which I've done a few times just to manipulate where the supports are. And then I did do like a couple of tweaks with the banking just to make the support be on the correct side of the track. It's a little bit of a pain to work around this way, but like I said, I don't really have a lot of time to do this at the moment because I am rapidly preparing a lot of content to release while I'm on my road trip. As you've probably hopefully just seen, I posted the latest episode of Moorview Meadow, which everyone seems to really enjoy. It was a Schwarzkopf looping coaster, very classic coaster that I wanted to get in that park. And then I've got quite a few vlogs upcoming. Hopefully that should tide everyone over until I come back from my road trip, which is when my vlogs will start in early September, and then I will be straight back on with Moorview Meadow, getting some more exciting projects in that park. I'm really excited to see how it develops. But yeah, coming to the end of this video now, obviously I'm going to do a POV and cinematics at the end so you can see how this coaster actually looks and feels in the game. I hope you're all really excited to have a play around with this coaster when this DLC does launch. Yeah, and I'm really excited to see what everyone will create with it, because I think it's a really creative DLC. The sheer amount of scenery in this pack is crazy as well, and then we also have the other rides, which I would like to cover in Park Series at some point. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this early access gameplay to the Vekoma flying coaster from the Silver Screen DLC coming to Planet Coaster 2, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.